Hello?
Hello?
Is this me?
Yes?
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, hi. Sam, this is, this is Brett. I'm calling here with my wife, Heather. You have disparaged us for several years now. I've kept my mouth shut because I'm an ideas guy.
Right. We should just say that you have a Horsehead podcast, right?
It's Dark Horse.
Oh, Dark Horse.
Dark Horse. Right, correct. Has nothing to do with ivermectin, I should say.
Okay.
I mean, that seems
And
like
other than
something to get out of the way, right? Okay, keep going.
Right. Good thing you said that.
that part was a coincidence. But I just want to say, you can say what you will about me and about my wife,
Okay.
but you keep Joe Rogan's name out of your filthy mouth, okay? He is my best friend, and he is maybe the most important man ever to have lived on this or any other planet.
Wait a second. First off, I'm a little bit skeptical about him being your best friend, but even if that was the case, what makes him the most important person to have ever lived, let's just say this planet, never mind other planets?
Sam, I want to talk to you about history, okay?
Sorry?
Do you understand how the Declaration of Independence was written? Okay, a lot of people think that this was Thomas Jefferson in a powdered wig, but it wasn't like that, okay? It was Thomas Jefferson sitting around with a bunch of his bros going, hey, pursuit of happiness, that's fucking wild. Okay, so what I mean to say is not that Joe Rogan is the Thomas Jefferson of our time, but rather that Thomas Jefferson was the Joe Rogan of his time.
So
you've heard of Jesus Christ, correct? I know you're not of that persuasion necessarily, but you've heard of him.
I've heard of Jesus Christ.
Jesus comes across a certain way in the Bible, but really, he was a guy with his disciples, which is another word for bros, sitting around going, "You've got a fucking post in your eye, bro. Don't talk about the speck in this guy's eye over here." And in other words, Jesus Christ was nothing more than the Joe Rogan of his time.
Okay. Now, so if I understand, I mean, I sort of understand what you're saying, that he's just having conversations, or they were just having conversations that turned out to be right, or that
everything in its time feels like just a conversation.
Brett, what's the Old Testament?
We understand.
What's the Old Testament in this equation?
Well, I think that if you look at Noah, he was a guy who was sitting around going, how big can this fucking boat be? And wouldn't it be fucking kind of cool if we got, like, every kind of
Tigers
every
and
animal... Tigers and shit.
Oh, and you get them to bang.
Let me just get me back to let's
not just one, but two. So there's going to be all kinds of fucking on this big ass boat.
But what if
that's fucking lit?
But let's just use this thing with Noah just as an example, because you'll concede that.
Sorry. The Joe Rogan of the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Call him by
You'll
his real
concede, Noah, the Joe Rogan of the Old Testament. You'll concede that Joe Rogan of present day gets things wrong, correct?
No.
mean, Joe Rogan himself has said, I get things wrong. In fact, there was some quote in an interview recently where he said, like, if you're listening to me for medical advice, you gotta get your head screwed on, right? Because I'm wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. So let's assume the Joe Rogan of the Old Testament, or Noah, as others know him, had come up with the idea of, like, you know what? Dude, no. If we have one of every species, we can get more species on. And that's what they did. And then that would have been, what would have happened then?
I kind of lost you there, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know that I followed.
I'm saying
where you were going
if Joe Rogan is capable of making a mistake, wouldn't have been a problem. If you're saying he was the Joe Rogan of his time, how do we get the right answer as opposed to the wrong answer, which seems to be, Rogan at least half the time on some of these very important issues?
Well, let's just be clear about something, okay? Joe Rogan may or may not have made a mistake in the past. I'm not saying that he hasn't made a mistake. I'm just saying it
seems like he did, though. But
it's possible that he's never made a mistake, and that actually what's at question here is our understanding of even the word mistake, right? And where this word comes from and how it's constructed and how it's interpreted. And again, I'm not saying he's never made a mistake. That's not what I'm saying. But it's an interesting question. And if we go where it takes us, I think it's really fascinating.
So you're saying it's not, I just want to be clear here. You're saying you're not making any statement as to whether Joe Rogan has made a mistake, but maybe we're all wrong in our conception of just the concept of mistake.
What are words, if nothing but the very bindings that hold us to interpretations that we might not even begin to understand? Is what Joe Rogan works in mysterious ways, and so when he says I've made a mistake, what we have to be very careful. We have to be so very careful about the words and how we hear them and how they are meant to be received, because again, we don't always understand what it is Joe Rogan wants for us as his disciples and his followers. And so, again, I am not saying the man is perfect. Of course, I would never say such a thing, but it would be really interesting if we could take a closer look at that, and maybe that's where it indeed would take us if we were willing to ask the hard questions. And what I'm finding is, boy, you start to ask those tough questions, and all of a sudden, the Jews start asking a lot of questions and start coming after you. Did I say the Jews out loud?
Brett, really appreciate you calling in, but you did, yeah.
Okay. Fire Matt Leach, by the way.
Okay, I will. Thank you for the call. I really appreciate that.
You're obviously incredibly well educated, and you're more than qualified to distribute this information.
There you go.
Matt's newest drop on the board.
Yeah, we gotta work out the. We're doing a tech day soon, and we got to work out this whole situation here. I may have to bring in a saw.
That was a good impression, by the way.
That was exceptionally well done.
Impression.
I have a feeling it was actually Eric and not Brett, but Eric had too much pride to call in.
Did you see why Eric hasn't followed Brett on the anti-vax bandwagon?
No.
Because he doesn't believe that Israel would do that to their population.
Oh my God. That's so perfect. That is so perfect. If Israel knew that the vaccinations were dangerous, then only Palestinians would have them. And so, therefore, I unfortunately cannot follow my brother down this path. but I know his intentions are good.
He needs to just, calibrate a little bit better.
Wow. This is all, incidentally, all of this is Peter Thiel, right? I mean,
Yep.
like all roads lead back to Peter Thiel. I don't know that Joe Rogan ever got,
Right.
help from Peter Thiel. He never needed it, but all the people who have
But the
developed,
tentacles of it, yeah, right. Anything downstream from that, you can get Thiel.
Eric Weinstein is literally a partner at Thiel Capital. Blake Masters is like the COO. JD Vance also was, I believe Thiel really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is the new frontier. And like, and yet they're speaking of JD Vance. I mean, they brand themselves as somebody edgy and different, right? IDW types. But he was doing a rally with Marjorie Taylor Greene a week ago.
The good thing about the JD Vance situation is this. He's at 5%.
Yeah.
Now, who knows? Peter Thiel is going to come in there, and he's going to come in with millions of dollars. Remind you, he was willing to bankroll the bankrupting of a publication. God knows how much money he's put in. He is a controlling partner in Palantir, and they do all sorts of different spying. And he has stepped down from the board of Facebook to either signal he doesn't have influence there or to dedicate his time. I don't know what that means, really. I mean, it sounds to me like he wants to do things that he felt when they come out are going to hinder Facebook.
Yes.
And so he wants to be able to have no constraints.
Yes.
No constraints on operating in. So who knows what he's got planned for Ohio to save JD Vance. But I would not be surprised if you saw something like one or two candidates drop out because they have other business opportunities that form. If you didn't see a massive advertising campaign, I mean, on and on and on. Who knows what we're going to end up seeing? So
the funny thing is, though, that he's at 5%, and the main problem is that he's on videotape saying all these bad things about Trump in 2016.
Yes, and desperately trying to be a Trumpista. And it's going to be interesting. The interesting part is going to be whether he gets invited back into he's a serious guy. He just had to take a break for a while and not be a serious guy.